Within the past week, I have been sprinkling in videos of my husband, both in my short and my long form content, and it seems as though y'all are thoroughly enjoying that content. So, in today's video, I wanted to share a bit more about our origin story and our engagement story. And yeah, y'all, eventually I'll do like a getting to know him video, but we're both doing a challenge right now to post on YouTube every single day for 100 days. I am committing to 100 days. He is committing to a full year. He might just inspire me, and that's just again the beauty of marriage, that iron sharpening iron. If you missed the video a couple of days ago when I talked about the 5 best tips that I had for the premarital tips that I received. Let me try that again. A few days ago, I shared a video breaking down the 5 best premarital pieces of advice that we received, and that iron sharpening iron piece is real. So Darian and I met in 2016. We both went to the University of Maryland, and I remember one of my littles, which is an equivalent to a mentee, she wanted to go to this Kappa party by herself, and it might have been like 2 of her other freshman friends, and I was like, y'all are not going to this Kappa party alone, so I'm gonna go back to the dorm, because I was literally heading back to the dorm from Route 1, which is like where all the restaurants are and whatnot. And so I was like, I'm gonna go back to my dorm, I'll meet you in your dorm, and I'm gonna take y'all there as like, your big sister in a way. And interestingly enough, Darian was also there to support one of his friends who had just crossed. And to give a bit more context, I actually saw him in the gym about a week prior to us being at that party. And when I saw him, I tapped my sister. We were both on the elliptical. I tapped her and I was like, Janae, that boy over there, he's fine. Like, that boy fine. And she rolls her eyes at me, puts her headphones back in. But I peep in my peripheral that he's walking past me. So, on the elliptical where you can poke out a little bit. And I'm poking. That one won't pay me no mind. But in hindsight, I appreciate it because it's quite the contrary compared to many of the other bits of attention that you sometimes get at the gym. Nonetheless, fast forward to the party. The 2 of us are clearly there to support someone, and I remember we were in a corner. I saw him in the corner and I was like, that's that boy from the gym. And so, scheming on the low, I shimmy my little self, shimmy, Kappa, huh? But what do I want to say? I move on over to that side of the room, okay? And I remember I go up to him like, hey, I was like, it's crazy. I think someone beside us was throwing up or something. So I was like, you think she'd be good? And he was like, yeah, I think she'll be all right, something. And I start conversation and I'm like, I'm Bree, what's your name? And he shares, he's Darian, and he's like, I'm from Baltimore. And all the other men that I done dealt with from Baltimore, let's just say they did not leave the best taste in my mouth. So when he told me that, I was like, oh Lord, well, it was great knowing you. He was like, no, what's wrong with Baltimore? And I was just like, I told him like I just hadn't had a good experience with men from Baltimore. And so then I'm like, okay, give me 3 facts about you that could change my mind. And that's what began like a 30-minute conversation between the 2 of us, where you wouldn't even know that we were in someone else's party. Like, it felt as though it was just like him and I. Dang, this sounds like a romance. This really sounds like it needs to be in a movie. But nonetheless, we chit chat, kiki, and I'm like, oh, he's really intriguing. Like, I intellectually sound. I love me a good intellectual conversation, not just surface level. Like, and we did that, and I was like, that was really cute. But then someone smashed their finger in the door or something, and the party got shut down. We both went our separate ways. I think I went to go check on my mentee. By the time I turned around, he had left the party. I was like, I didn't even get his number. But then a few days later, I'm on Instagram and I see that his Instagram name was Dino Spumoni at the time, But I was like, I could have sworn his name was Darian. And if you know me, like if any of my friends are watching this, y'all know I'm terrible with names. So for all I knew, I was like, dang, his name probably was Dino. But inquiring minds wanted to know what was really good. So I slid into his DMs and I was like, hey, and did I add I don't know if I mentioned this, but he followed me and I was looking at my recent follows. So I was like, timing couldn't be more perfect. So I'm like, hey, are you Darian from the party last night? And he's like, yeah, you're Bria. Like, you look even more beautiful in the light, because of course, like the Kappa parties were all dark and all that jazz. And so that begins our communication, and yeah, it's just really crazy. Like, we would never, I mean, we might have crossed paths at some point, but I was in engineering, he was in sociology, and like we were just on two different sides of the campus. But I remember there was a snowstorm soon after, and so we got to FaceTime each other all day, and that was cute. And yeah, it was a very serendipitous start to our relationship. And then with the engagement, he actually invited all of his family and all of my family. So his family, for the most part, is in Baltimore. My family, for the most part, is in Atlanta, and then like sprinkles of DC, Winston-Salem throughout. So we were going on this date. We typically do dates once a week. So like that was nothing out of the ordinary. And I do remember, though, this was March, and he told me that he had planned to propose in March, and we were running up at the end of March. So I'm over here like, oh my God, he's probably gonna take me out on a date somewhere cute, and then he's gonna propose to me out there. So he tells me, what happened? We went to get our nails done. So that should have been wink, wink, number one brand, but didn't pay any mind. We got our nails. So he did pedicure, and I did like pedicure and manicure. And I remember earlier that morning, I told one of my best friends, I was like, I think he's gonna propose today. So she was like, you have to go get white. So I go to Target. We were not anti-Target at the time, 2023 or 2022. So I go to Target, get myself like a cute white top, and I wore jeans. And so I remember we went to get the pedicures. I didn't expect for him to propose in the nail salon, to be honest. So that one was a no-brainer. But then he's like, okay, we'll take you to a surprise restaurant in Dubai. Child, one of my best friends is in Dubai right now, so that's top of mind. But he was like, I'm gonna take you to this restaurant in Durham. And I'm like, cool. So we get there. It's a very, very picturesque Asian restaurant. I forget the name of it, but they have like this whole thing of like bamboo in the back, and it was so like you would order your food, then you could walk around, find you a cute table. So we're walking around these bamboo trees, and I just know when I turn around on that swivel, he's about to be on one knee. So I'm here, all girly, da 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 da. That man is standing 10 toes down, and I'm like, okay. So then our food gets called, we sit down, and I remember being like, dang, was I wrong this whole time? But he ends up, he seemed a bit off. And like afterwards, I asked, I was like, you seemed a bit fidgety. He was like, yeah, because I was trying to text both of our families, telling them to turn off their locations and making sure that everyone got here safely, was setting up. Like, I guess like right after we left, our family members were waiting to set up the decorations and everything in our house. And so he had to like give them the code to get in the house. And it was so much happening behind the scenes I had no idea about. So by the time, oh, let me get to that part later. So we're at the restaurant. We finished our food. I was like, that was good, thank you. And we're heading home. And I was tired because I was just really tired. So I slept almost the entire way home. We get to the house, and I'm like, he pulls into the garage a bit slower than usual, and like is on his phone. He's usually not on his phone at all, really, when we're out on dinner, on dates, period. So I mean, I didn't think our family was in the house, but like lo and behold, I get to the top of these steps, like right here, So the garage is downstairs, so you walk up. I get to those steps and I just see this path of candles and red rose petals, and I'm losing it. I'm like, oh my gosh, why did y'all get here? And I'm like looking everyone in the eye, and everyone has a rose. And because I love roses, so everyone has a rose, and they're all handing me a rose. And then, sorry, I think, let me, so when I walked in, that's when Darian started playing John Legend, because I love me some like romantic John Legend music. What would I do without your smart mouth? And so like as that's playing, I'm walking from like the stairwell over here to, we have a wall over there where he proposed, and I'm looking everyone in the eyes. They hand me the rose, and when I get to him, I'm losing it. Because up until then, I was just, excited everyone was there. And then when I got to him, I was like, oh my God, it's happening. And so he proposes. I'm getting emotional, but yeah, he proposes, and the ring itself, I actually never saw it because we went to this place called Normanby Jewelers. I had done a ton of engagement ring research on them, and they did an amazing job. But one thing I loved about them was that you could essentially customize your ring. So a couple months prior, we had gone up to New York, customized the ring, told them like that I wanted the cathedral setting, and I wanted diamonds on all three sides, and I wanted the pillow cushion cut. Like there were certain components of different rings that I liked, and I pointed out and wanted to see in my ring, but I never actually saw the ring. So when he opened the box, like, you would have never guessed that I was, I had decorated or designed the ring and actually had an idea of like what it would look like. And so that was a whole other shock, because I was like, wow, this is really my ring. So let me blushing all over again. So yeah, that's how the proposal happened. And then they had like a whole party set up for me in the living room. So it was like our parents gave us well wishes, and our sisters shared sentiments, and then we got to, say our thank yous, and excuse me, it was lovely. It was absolutely one of the best days of my life. So yeah, that is a bit about the origin story. We had our wedding in Charlotte, October 7th, 2023. It was absolutely magical. Honestly, that day felt like an out-of-body experience, especially when we were in our ceremony. It was almost as if you could feel the Holy Spirit just like wrapping us all in like congratulations. I think that's the best way I can put it. And I remember just like there were so many moments where I just could not control my tears. Like, of course I did not want to mess up my makeup after, spending hundreds of dollars on it, but it was just such an emotional day. It was very romantic. It was very like, we did spend quite a bit on florals, but again, I love roses and I love flowers, period. But yeah, the floral arrangements were stunning. Having both of our families there, it looks way bigger than it was. Like the size of our wedding looks way bigger than it was. We only had 80 people, but it felt as though there was so much love filling the room that, and I gotta give credit to our wedding planner. Like I think she spaced out the room really well so that it didn't feel like, one table was here and then the other table was over here and no, like it really felt like almost like a family reunion. So loved our wedding day. Maybe I should do a video on our wedding day, because we actually got an hour-long documentary. Yeah, it's like a film. I would say call it a film. We got a 1-hour film from our videographer, and so we actually watched it soon after our anniversary this year for the first time, and the tears were flowing all over again. Like, man, it was a beautiful day. So yeah, maybe we can do a video soon just about like what we paid for, what types of people we hired, what we prioritized, what we said no to, and hopefully that'll be helpful for any of you who are looking to start planning your wedding in the future. Your wedding, people used to say this and it used to irritate me, but the work actually starts and the marriage actually starts after the wedding. And unless you are doing it for you, like every component of what you're putting into the wedding, unless you're doing it for you, it's almost a waste of money in my opinion. And I think that was something that we had to be very clear on, like what are the things that we actually value that when we look back we'll be like, I'm glad that I spent on that. For him, his big thing was videography. He wanted to be able to watch back our wedding, and I'm so glad that that was his priority. For me, it was florals and pictures. So going back to earlier, like we did spend a pretty penny on flowers, and we also hired one of the best wedding photographers in the world, like Reem Photography. He is amazing. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that we were able to afford that opportunity and the memories that we have. Like, this was another big thing that we splurged on, was getting our flowers preserved. So we have 3 of these. And yes, you'll see the roses in there. We keep them as centerpieces in our kitchen because 1, they're just stunning and they last, and 2, it's just a beautiful memory as we step into the 2nd floor of our house. So this is only supposed to be about origin story and engagement, but that is a little bit more about wedding as well. So I'm whispering a bit because hubby is also recording his video of the day, but I hope you all enjoyed this. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow.